2025 4Runner owners, you just picked up your new beauty, and now it's time to give you peace of mind with one of our elite Cobra Dash Camera systems. Listen up. Hey, what's up guys? It's Cliff with Trail Grid Pro, and as always, super pumped to be back with you. Got the 2025 4Runner back here, that beauty. You got a 2025 plus 4Runner, you're gonna wanna watch this because we're talking about peace of mind. We're talking about safety. We're talking about dash cameras. In front of me, I have the Cobra SC250R. It's got all sorts of goodies and accessories packed with it to make it a super easy install in your 2025 plus 4Runner to give you that peace of mind that you deserve. I've been running this exact setup in my 2024 Land Cruiser for about 6 months and absolutely love it. So now it's time to bring it to the 6th generation 4Runner owners so you can get that peace of mind. So in front of me, I've got not a whole lot of stuff. Usually we have a full table here, but we got, these are compact solutions. They're power packed and we want it that way. It's a dash camera system. We don't want it taking up our whole dash. We want it to be sleek and compact, and that's what we have here. We got the Cobra SC250R. This is the main brain right here that sits right on your dash. Does all sorts of goodies, which we'll go into. It also comes with a rear camera, which we have a mounting solution for the 2025 plus 4Runner that makes it super clean in the rear of your rig. And then there's the optional in-cabin camera, which has become even more important than ever. Uber, Lyft drivers aside, obviously that's almost a staple. You gotta have that where you have the in-cabin cam for safety. I always tell this story. I told it on the last video when we did it in the Land Cruiser, I'm gonna tell it now. We had a friend who got in an accident, had a dash cam, and said, hey, insurance company, I'm gonna give you the dash camera footage. And they asked, well, where's the in-cabin footage so we can prove that you were driving? So this is the world that we're living in. The more you have to protect yourself, the better. So the in-cabin cam gives you that peace of mind that you always know it's you driving, not someone else. It checks all the boxes. It's the way to go. All right, so let's go into some of the nitty-gritty details of the awesome power-packed features in this Cobra SC250R. The SC250R is a true 4K front camera, 2160p. It captures every critical detail on the road, including license plates and road signs. The rear camera is a full HD rear, 1080p, and it adds that extra layer of protection by recording behind your vehicle. The front camera on your windshield has a beautiful 3-inch LCD display. You can easily view footage, make adjustments, and play back recordings right on the device. It has built-in GPS, so you can automatically embed speed, location, and time into your recordings. It's got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity, so you can manage settings, share footage, and update firmware directly from your smartphone. The Drive Smarter app integration, which you can get on your Apple or Android device, you get real-time alerts for red light cameras, speed traps, and live police activity. It's got loop recording and G-sensor. It automatically overwrites older footage and locks recordings during sudden impacts. It's got parking mode. It records activity when motion or impact is detected while parked. And again, that does require the constant power option. It's got expandable storage. It comes with a pre-installed 32 gigabyte micro SD card and supports up to 512 gigabytes. So as you now know, this is an A1 solution. It's power packed. It's got all the details and features in order to keep you safe and sound in your vehicle so that you always have the footage if something goes wrong. Let's talk about power. So in that last piece, I talked about one of the features, the parking mode requiring the constant power adapter. That is right here. So the constant power OBD2 adapter connects to your OBD2 connection underneath your steering column to provide constant power even when your vehicle is off. That gives you access to parking mode. So we're going to show you how to do that installation today. If you want constant power when the vehicle is on, you're not so concerned about parking mode, we have an option to give you constant power. That's our dash camera power adapter when the vehicle is on. So we got two options, and we're gonna go through both today so that regardless of which one you choose, you're gonna nail the installation. And again, this install can be completely done in around an hour. You really don't need many tools. We got a panel tool here and some zip ties, which you wanna have handy in the event you wanna clean up some of the extra wiring. That's all you need. It's super easy. So let's get on in the 4Runner and nail this installation. All right, guys, we're in the rig. So the first installation that we're gonna do is actually for the dash camera power adapter. So again, as a reminder, the dash camera power adapter is gonna give you constant power when the vehicle is on. So I'm gonna grab that right now. It would show up in a bag that looks just like this. And the dash camera power adapter, oh, there's a zip tie, is right here, okay? So in this 2025 Plus 4Runner, it needs a 10-pin power adapter, and this is gonna go right up here in this portion up here, which we're gonna remove. It's gonna connect to a power source that's gonna give you constant power while the vehicle's on. So let's show you exactly how to do that. All right, guys, first thing we need to do is tilt down the mirror just like that. We need to remove this trim piece right here. And do that, we're gonna use our panel tool, and I'm gonna kind of get underneath of it here and pop it down. You see it's popping down right there, and then you're gonna pull it towards you, and that comes right out. And so that piece looks just like that. All right, next is this whole trim piece up here is gonna actually slide down. So you're gonna slide it down towards the dash. There we go. And it will come right off. Easy peasy, just like that. So we'll put that aside. So the connector that we need, there's a few up here. You can see, I believe this is a black one. We've got a gray one right here, and then a white one. The white one is the 10-pin adapter that we need to gain access to. So I'm gonna use my panel tool here just to depress the tab and then pull out. There we go. All right, so this is our savior right here for the dash camera power adapter option. And so that's where we're gonna get power. So all we do is we grab our power adapter and we plug in the end that we took out into the matching end from our dash camera power adapter. And then we use the other end to plug in exactly where the plug is that we removed. All right, got that plugged in. And then what we're left with here is the USB-A connection, which we're gonna use to connect to our dash camera to power it. So that's basically done. We've got that ready right there. The next thing that we need to do is mount our front camera. And so I've got the front camera right here. The camera pivots, so you don't need to so much worry about the slope of your windshield or anything like that. Not a big deal because you can pivot it directly at the angle you want. It's got the 3M super sticky tape here. Make sure before you put this on, I've done this off camera, is you completely clean your windshield. That'll ensure that the sticky portion of this will stick as well as possible. Now, the other thing to keep in mind when you do this, now there's a lot of places you can put this, right? You could, I mean, shoot, you could put it up here, you could put it up over there, but I'm gonna put it here right in the middle. Makes the most sense to me. But when you do this, you need to put it at least an inch, inch and a half down from the black line, which represents the end of that plastic piece that I just took off. The reason you need it about that far down is that plastic piece actually slides down to be dislodged and removed. So we're gonna need to get it in there and then slide it back up. So you need to have some space to allow that plastic piece to go in and out for installation. Now to mount this, what I always do is before you take the sticky off, just kind of put it up there and give it a good look. And really the middle is, you've got the neck of your rear view mirror. That's your middle, that's your center. If you wanna measure this from side to side, you wanna be super precise, feel free. I always eyeball it because it's pretty centered. And you know, that looks like a pretty good spot right there. That's probably where I'll put it. When I put the rear view mirror back down into position and I'm driving, I'll still be able to see the LCD screen a little bit, maybe not the whole thing, but I can always kind of tuck my head down. I get peace of mind knowing that it's running and I can see it, that it's on. I know it's recording whatever's going on in front of me. So that's what I'm gonna do, kind of put it right there. So I'm gonna take the cover off and I'm gonna get up under here. I've got my center here, my true north, and I'm about, I'd say, an inch and a half, almost 2 inches down there, being a little safe here. And I'm gonna put it right there. Okay. Looks pretty straight. So again, as you put it on, another sort of guiding light there is that black kind of ring that goes around the whole section. That can be your leveling. I eyeballed it, but if you want to be super level, you can obviously bring a level out here and do it, but it looks pretty darn straight to me. So I've got it mounted there. Okay, so next we need to grab our bag that had our dash camera power adapter in it, and in it there are two adapters. There's a USB-C to USB-A adapter, and there's a micro USB to USB-A. So depending on the dash camera that you have both options. I'm going to use the USB-C to A because that's what the Cobra Dash Camera takes. And all we're doing, just untwist this, is we are connecting the USB-A to the USB-A from the dash camera power adapter. And that is going to be connected to the right side of the Cobra Dash Camera. Okay, so at this point, obviously we have to clean some things up, put the covers back on, etc. But for all intents and purposes, you've got, when your vehicle is on, now constant power from the dash camera power adapter. That's for the front camera and rear camera, which we're going to install when we do the OBD2 option. But the same principle is going to apply for the rear camera installation at this point as it will later. You're going to run the wire and connect it in and you'll have constant power. So at this point, you're just zip tying here. You're going to put your covers back on and you're done with the front camera. Obviously, wait to put the covers back on until you run your rear camera, but that's all you have to do at this point. Everything is connected. You're good to go. All right, so now that we nailed the dash camera power adapter option, we're going to do the OBD2 power option. If you didn't choose that option, go ahead and skip to the video to the rear camera, but let's get started with the OBD2 constant power option. Okay, so here we have the Cobra easy install hardware kit, which connects to the OBD2 port under basically your left foot under your steering column. So let's go ahead and get this open. All right, so on one side we have a USB-C, which is going to give power to the dash camera. So this is going to connect to the dash camera. And then on this end we have the OBD2 connector, which will plug into the OBD2 port. One of the other cool features about this is this does have a low battery detection. So if your battery gets low, it'll detect it and it'll just turn itself off. So you won't come out to a dead battery with your constant power running. All right, so to get started, we'll just take off the twist tie here. And for now, we're gonna have probably some excess slack on both ends, but I'm just gonna put this up here, leave myself what seemingly is enough slack, and then start feeding the wire across. Actually probably makes sense to just plug it in so that you're not going to be just dangling over here. All right, so we're going to start running the wire across. Again, leave a little slack here at the end, which we can tuck up and hide behind the plastics. So we're coming across, just pushing it up into the headliner. Don't really need a panel tool for this. It kind of just goes up there pretty easily. And then at this point, we're going to come across the A-pillar here. And then we're going to pull the weather stripping like that, and we're going to guide it down, right down the door channel there. So let's start tucking this. For this, you'll probably need a panel tool to tuck it behind this plastic piece. Actually, it fits right down there. All right, got that in there. Careful, because there is an airbag back there, so don't do anything too crazy, but it actually hides pretty easily back there. All right, so just doing a check, just tucking our wire, just make sure it's all back there. Oh, yep, see, you had a little pop out there, so just pushing it back. There we go. Okay, so now we're all the way over here. Okay, so at this point, we're gonna follow this channel right here behind the weather stripping. So I'm gonna pop out here real quick, just to get a better angle on it. So what we do is start channeling it down here. And then to secure it in place, we just put the weather stripping back. Go. It's actually a little tricky around that plastic piece there, but you just got to hook it around it. All right. So we're getting down here to the kick panel, which is great, which means we're successful. Just give it another push around, make sure everything's in place. So now what we need to do is we have to remove this piece here, which is going to allow us to move the kick panel, which is right here. So if it's never been removed before, it might be a little tricky. A panel tool helps. Kind of lift it up. It'll just pop right up, just like that. All right, so we got that out. We'll set it aside. All right, so we have the door sill cover off. Now we're going to get the kick panel off. There's a little dial. It's right here. So we're going to remove that. It just twists right off. Just like that. All right. And then this piece we'll just remove. Pull it towards you. There we go. There we go. All right, pulls right off. Just like that. All right, what that gives us the ability to do is to further bring down our wire here. So we're going to bring it down to about there. All right, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually route our OBD2 connector through this little hole right here, which is right under the front hood switch. And so if you have it, push it through here. If for some reason on some models it's not there, don't worry about it. You can plug it right in to the OBD2, but this is just going to allow us to hide the wires a little bit better. All right, so it's coming out the other side. Last thing we need to feed through is just the power protector. There we go. All right, so we feed all that wire through. Makes it kind of a little cleaner here. We'll zip tie all of this up, don't worry about it. And let's go ahead and plug in our, right here to this port, which is your OBD2 connector port. And we'll go ahead and plug that in. All right, so we're plugged in there. Perfect. So at this point, we're gonna use our zip ties to clean up some of this excess wire, so let's take care of that. All right, so let's just gather this up. Keep it nice and tight. I got one there. And let's just do another one here. And let's go ahead and cut these off. When you zip tie your extra wires, you want to leave a little bit of slack here because we need to reach, there's a little area back here that we can stow everything, that when we put the kick panel back on, it'll be nice and stowed. All right, let's go ahead and grab our kick panel. So I've got it right here. So let's put the kick panel in. We're going to just be reaching right for making sure that hole lines up. All right, so we've got that there. Let's grab our dial. All right, now we can put our trim piece back on. Got our trim piece right here. And that'll just pop right down. Okay, perfect. So everything's there. Now let's move to the rear of the vehicle and complete the rear camera installation. All right, guys, we're in the rear of this beauty 2025 Plus 4Runner. We're gonna get the rear camera installed. We get a lot of questions about the rear camera installation, like how do I hide the wire? It is way easier than you think. So we're gonna show you that here today so that all of you out there that were maybe thinking you weren't up to this, you are definitely up to this. So one thing that we have to make that job easier is we have a 3D printed piece which we'll offer on the product page. And what this 3D printed piece does is it allows a nice space for you to attach the adhesive of the rear camera to. And it's held in by little clips. And that'll give you a nice plastic surface in order to attach the rear camera. So we're gonna get started with that. So I've got the plastic 3D printed piece right here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this little headliner clip here, and we can just use a panel tool to kind of get underneath of it and pop it right out. Just be ginger, you don't have to pull it out hard. There we go. All right, so this is the headliner piece, so that's what we're trying to pull out. And if you notice here, there's a little round notch here. So essentially what you're doing is you're putting the piece in just like that and reattaching it to the headliner. So we're gonna take it just like this and pop it right back into position here. All right, so we got the piece there. It's now ready to receive the rear camera. It's adhesive, so Before we stick it to the adapter here, we're gonna clean it just to make sure it's super ready to receive the adhesive and it'll stick for a long time. So let's take care of that. All right, we have the surface of the adapter on our headliner ready to receive the rear camera. We just need to remove the red film here, which is gonna give us the ability to stick it to the adapter. It's a little tricky to get off, but just peel on it, it'll come off. All right. There we go. After some fighting, I got it. So the way we're gonna orient this is the mount is gonna be on, if you're facing it, on the right side, you're gonna have the micro USB connector here on the right side. You can see it right there. And we're gonna mount it right to our plastic piece. There we go. Just like so. Let's give it a quick hold there. Just make sure it doesn't go anywhere. All right, perfect. And then of course we're gonna test the angle when we get everything plugged in. So now we get to the point where, a lot of people ask, how do I get this wire all the way up to the front of my vehicle? It's way easier than you think. So we've got the extension wire here to get the rear camera to the front of the vehicle. We've got two sides. We've got the micro USB right here. And then we've got kind of like a microphone jack here on this side. This is going to plug into the actual camera on the front windshield, and this plugs into the rear camera. So what we're going to do is we're going to start routing this to the front of the vehicle. We're not going to plug it in yet. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to follow right across here. We're going to come right across these plastic pieces, basically all the way to the front of the vehicle. So let's get started with that. So we're going to leave this up here and leave ourselves enough slack to get to the rear camera. There we go, that should be good. And hold it in place by putting the weather stripping back. So coming across. All right, perfect. So at this point, you start to hook around the plastic and you start coming forward. You can actually just tuck it in with your finger. So you see me just tucking it in under the plastic here. Don't have to do it too hard. Let's put this weather stripping back. Make sure the headliner comes out. There we go. Perfect. All right, so we've got that secure in there. Then I'm gonna hop here in the back. We're gonna start running it forward. All right, there's another plastic piece here that follows, it separates the headliner from the window, and we're just gonna follow that same path between it and the headliner. Might need a panel tool here if you need to really get in there. There we go. But my finger works pretty well, just kind of getting it there. You just slide it across. All right, maybe take a panel tool to make sure it's nice and in there. There we go. And coming to the front. And same thing, we're gonna follow it across. Use that panel tool to tuck anything you need to kind of really get out of the way. And there we go. All right, we're gonna hop in the back seat and keep going forward. All right, so moved up to the rear seat here, just gonna continue following it forward. Like I said, in most cases, you can just kind of tuck this under with your fingers. If you do need a panel tool, you can use it to tuck it down. So at this point, to get it forward even further, we just need to pull the weather stripping down. And we're gonna follow that same path like we did in the front, where you're gonna go right in the little cavity here of the headline, or I'm sorry, of the weather stripping channel. And then to secure it, you just put the weather stripping back. Okay, all right, same thing coming forward here, just under the plastic here. Panel tool was a little helpful there to do that, to get it started. Then you should just be able, yeah, well, this one's a little trickier. There we go, just slide it under there, slide it forward. This B-pillar plastic seems to be a little more rigid, but still can get it up there easily. All right, now onto the front seat. All right, same thing here. Pull the weather stripping and just follow the wire forward. Okay, now we come to the A-pillar, same thing. Just hook it underneath the plastic. There we go. Bring it forward. Okay. Just tuck that down there nice and neat. Hop in the front seat. And all we're doing now is bring it across the headliner. Okay. Now let's just make sure we tuck it under there nicely. Okay. Alright, just make sure you have it all tucked up underneath there. I got here in the corner. Just get it back there. Alright, so at this point, we are in the front of the vehicle, and our microphone jack plugs right into the it's not a microphone, but that's just what I'm calling it, right into the slot right there. And so that's going to connect our rear camera to our front dash camera, which is going to allow everything to work beautifully. All right, now that we've got everything for the dash camera run to the front of the vehicle, I know I talked about in the beginning that, that's usually a pain point for people. They think that's going to be really difficult. Hopefully now you feel better about that. You can definitely do this. It took mostly my finger to tuck the wire down, little panel tool, and you got it. You can definitely do this. At this point, now we just need to plug in our USB into the side of the camera, plug it up there. We got our wire nice and tucked there. It's super clean. You're ready to roll. Let's get to the front of the vehicle, put some of the last pieces back together, and give this baby a test. All right, back in the front of the rig. The last camera that we have to set up, if you've opted for it, is the in-cabin cam. It's really easy to install. It actually attaches right to the side of the main dash camera there. There's a little port here that we need to expose. I found the easiest way to get it off is use a nickel. And there's a little slot here. And we're just going to put the nickel in there and turn it. There we go. And then this piece just comes right off. Just like that. All right. Then we take our in-cabin camera and we're going to plug it in. And you'll find there's a little notch where it just slides right into position. All right. There we go. And now your in-cabin camera is attached. So you've got 3 cameras blazing right now. We've got a front camera, we've got a rear camera, and we got an in-cabin cam. So super cool. So now what we need to do is clean up some of this excess wire so that we can wrap this thing up and look beautiful. So I'm going to use some zip ties to get this all nice and neat. And I'm probably going to store it in the headliner. That's just going to be easier. Pop it up there. So I'm not going to make it very thick. Okay, so this should tuck up here nicely. Let's see. All right, so now that I got it up there, I'm going to use another zip tie actually to connect it to these wires up here, just so it's really not going to go anywhere. Let's get that cut off. Okay, so now that I've got that secured, let's work on this side. And we can kind of do do this way. Come around this way here. There we go. And this can tuck all up. All right, perfect. And I'm going to give it a zip tie to connect it. All right, now that we're all clean up here, now we can start putting back together our pieces, and this is going to come in from the bottom. And just get it nice and up here. I'll just get it up here. There we go, right there, and then slide up. Perfect. So we've got that into place. And then lastly, our finishing trim piece here. And we're going to slide that right in and pop it up. All right, perfect. Well, we're looking pretty darn clean over here. We've got 3 cameras installed in around an hour. It's a super clean install. All the wires are hidden. Awesome. So now we've got a little satisfying feeling right here. We can take off this little cover here. Hopefully you can see that over there. Yeah, we got that taken off. All right, so we got her fired up. It's asking us which language. We're gonna say English. That sounds good. We're gonna use miles per hour. Yep. And our time zone, let's see, we are Eastern -5. This is the star of the show for sure. So on this nice, beautiful 3-inch display, the way it's set up right now is we've got a front camera view, and then we've got the in-cabin cam over here on the left, and then the rear camera put in the upper left and right-hand corner, which is super awesome. So you've got a visual view at all times on all 3 displays. So I'm sitting here in the driver's seat. I can see me clearly. And then here's the passenger over here, and then people in the back. That's awesome. So I've got the in-cabin, which is great. The rear camera is working perfectly. And so what we're gonna do is actually connect the Drive Smarter app, which is how you're gonna be able to access everything. All right, so let's go ahead and we're gonna scan this. There we go. Yep, let's continue to destination. All right, download today for a safer, smarter drive. Got that. Hit the App Store. Now, I already have it downloaded, but here you would download it if you didn't have it. So typically you'd start here and then go here and then add devices. And then you can actually add different vehicles. So we're going to add a vehicle here. We're going to call it 2025. Whoop, that's not 2015. 2025 4Runner. And then the make is Toyota. And the model, as we know, 4Runner. And the year is 2025. And the color is blue. All right, cool. So now that we've added that, now it's time to add a device. So very easy setup, add a device, scan for devices. Dang, found that quick. So let's continue. So now it's working toward pairing. I heard a beep, that's good news. Yep, it's connected. It's going through the setup process now. Perfect. All right, we are connected. So I'm not going to set up the mobile hotspot now, but you can. Congratulations, it's added successfully. That's amazing. So I'm going to be prompted to update the firmware 9 times out of 10. I'm not going to do that here on camera, but you're basically going to want to update your firmware, and then you'll have full access to the app, which can basically control anything on the dash camera as well as view footage at any time. So it's super cool. It's like a, remote into the dash camera so that you can see anything and change any settings. So we're paired there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit OK here, and I'm gonna head back here, and I'm just gonna head back to our display just to show that one more time. There's obviously lots of cool features, lots of settings that you can dial into with this dash camera, but we've got 3 cameras that we were able to set up in under an hour. We have footage of the front, footage of the rear, footage of in-cabin, so that, man, we've got awesome peace of mind here with a beautiful piece of electronics brought to us by Cobra. We've been using this ourselves. We love it. It's fantastic. Pairing to the cell phone so you can access all settings, view your footage, all that good stuff at all times. It's right there at your fingertips. This is the upgraded version. This baby just came out not that long ago. You're gonna want it. I mean, look at this thing. It's super sleek. Once you put the mirror down, let's see. I mean, I actually, I don't even see it at this point. You know, but what's cool is that the camera can still see me. I've got front and rear, not much more you can ask for. This is a comprehensive solution. We used to sell the older model Cobras, and we sold a ton of them for 4Runner owners, Tundra owners, and Tacoma owners. And that was for either a front camera or a front and rear camera. Now we've got a front, rear, and in-cabin. And like I said, you can get this in about an hour, super easy. If you're looking to pick this up, you can grab it in the TrailGrid Pro shop at www.trailgridpro.com. And as always, guys, have a blast out there.